Hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Commander at Home, where we have a deck to reveal for you all. It is the Sliver Swarm deck, one of the pre-constructed decks from the upcoming Commander Masters set.
That's right, we're so grateful for our friends at WotC giving us another deck to preview. You saw us recently with the Elven Council, and now you get to see us again with Slivers.
Slivers are kind of a weird, iconic creature type in Magic, dating back all the way to Tempest. Kind of have this whole hive mind operation. Each of them buffs each other and does crazy stuff. And speaking of crazy stuff, let's jump into the crazy new stuff that is coming in this deck, starting with the face card, the commander, Sliver Gravemother.
That's right, Sliver Gravemother is Wooburg for a legendary Sliver that's a 6/6. The legend rule doesn't apply to Slivers you control. Each Sliver creature in your graveyard has Encore X, where X is its mana value. Encore 5, exile this card from your graveyard. For each opponent, create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Activate only as a sorcery.
So there's a lot going on here. First of all, the legend rule not applying to Slivers means you can have multiple copies of various legendary Slivers.
Like Sliver Gravemother.
Yes, like this one. Obviously, its own Encore ability wouldn't really work if it couldn't give Encore, but you could also Encore things like First Sliver or Sliver Queen, Sliver Legion, like a lot of the really powerful legendary Slivers. I mean, getting an Encore of Sliver Legion and giving all of your Slivers enormous bonuses, kind of disgusting.
Yep.
And also, Slivers are known for buffing your team, things like Muscle Sliver or the various other forms that, having a bunch of extra copies because you Encore in a 4-player game of Commander can get a bunch of those extra buffs, and this can be very, very powerful.
Rukaramel Biologist. Wooburg for a legendary human wizard that's a 3/3. As Rukaramel enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Slivers you control and non-token creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other creature types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards that you own that aren't on the battlefield. 3 and tap, create a 1/1 colorless Sliver creature token.
So this is pretty much the alternate commander for this deck.
Definitely.
And it does a couple of interesting things. One, obviously it makes extra Slivers with its activated ability, but also if you're ever jealous that your Slivers couldn't get the bonuses that goblins can or elves can, well, here you go. They're all
too,
just pile them together in one big Sliver amalgamation. So lots of kind of weird, kind of gross if you think about what happens with the Sliver things, whatever they're going to be, I don't know, but it can do a lot. It's kind of sick.
Next up, we have Capricious Sliver. 3 and a red for a Sliver that's 3/3. Sliver creatures you control have, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn.
Red card draw, get an extra card to play this turn. Pretty nuts when you have a bunch of Slivers.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is one of those things though that you can't just draw a bunch of cards with it, right? It's obviously not draw a card.
Right.
So you have to have the resources to play it this turn. It's not a May effect, right? So if you have say 50 Slivers in play and you attack with all of them, well, there goes the top 50 cards of your decks. You'd better have a lot of mana to use with them. So definitely a powerful tool for sort of rebuilding your board once you've gotten a few attacks in, or just getting some extra resources overall.
Next up, we have Descendant's Fury. 3 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice one of them. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is sick.
So this is a weird one, right? Because obviously it's in this Sliver deck, but it has a lot of potential for other creature types as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the art of this, it's got dragons, right? And you can imagine a deck that has ways to make, say, maybe token copies of small creatures and then just has gigantic creatures in the deck. And you can use this. It's like, okay, well, we'll sacrifice this and go get, I don't know, maybe you somehow get a token small dragon. That's not a thing you usually have. But let's say it's, I don't know, an Eldrazi, right? You're playing a deck full of giant Eldrazi and you can make Eldrazi spawns or something. There's just a lot of different types of creature type matters decks you could experiment with this card in. It's certainly not just a Sliver card. It can be, like I said, a dragon card.
For the Ancestors, 2 and a green for an instant. Choose a creature type. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of cards of the chosen type from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Flashback, 3 and a green.
Yeah, this is another card that obviously very powerful in a deck full of Slivers, but also very powerful in any deck full of a lot of the same creature type. playing a creature type matters deck that is, say, elves, or I don't know, dragons again, goblins, whatever. Obviously anything that can include green.
Even dragons.
Yeah, she said it, not me. But no, it's something which obviously plays very well in this deck, but has a lot of other possible homes. Merfolk Prof, I hear you're out there.
Next up, we've got Hatchery Sliver, 1 and a green for a 2/2 sliver. Replicate, 1 and a green. When you cast this spell, copy it for each time you paid its replicate cost. Each sliver spell you cast has replicate. The replicate cost is equal to its mana cost.
We were just talking about how powerful with Encore getting extra temporary copies of some of these slivers can be. How about permanent copies? Hatchery Sliver can copy any other sliver that gives sort of additive effects. There are a lot of slivers out there. It's like, oh, your slivers have flying, your slivers have this ability that doesn't really stack, but there are also quite a few of them that give some sort of incremental bonus ability that if you have multiple copies can be extremely powerful. And well, if you can replicate them, you end up with a bunch of extra mana because say you have a mana weft sliver and all your slivers are making a bunch of mana, boom, suddenly many more slivers.
And if there's any enter the battlefield effects, if you're able to use this as a mana sink just for that too, that's gonna get crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean one of the really scary combos that you see in a lot of sliver decks is mana echoes to keep making more slivers off of those things. We're just making it easier for you.
Lazotep Sliver is 3 in black for a zombie sliver. That's a 4/4. Sliver creatures you control have Afflict 2. Whenever a creature with Afflict 2 becomes blocked, defending player loses 2 life. Whenever a non-token sliver you control dies, amass Slivers 2. Put 2 1/1 counters on an army you control. It's also a sliver. If you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black sliver army creature token first.
Speaking of things that are powerful to make multiple copies of, it is additive, right? If you have 4 Lazotep slivers because you're able to, you afflict 8. They block any of your slivers. Sorry, you lose 8 life. And each of those would also gain the amass 2 ability. So, any non-token sliver dies, boom, amass 8. And I also want to talk about, this is another instance of amass. We first saw it in War of the Spark, then we saw it in Lord of the Rings with amass orcs, and now we have amass slivers. And I'm just envisioning the zombie orc sliver army, like whatever sort of weird sliver limbs coming out, like the orc face, like just enjoy that mental image for the rest of the video.
We've got Regal Sliver, 3 and a white for a sliver 3/3. Sliver creatures you control have, when this creature enters the battlefield, slivers you control get +1/+1 until end of turn if you're the monarch. Otherwise, you become the monarch.
I do think this is a good palate cleanser from the disgusting amalgamation sliver orc goblin or whatever zombie thing.
Why be afflicted when you could be the monarch?
Yeah, and he does have a very regal crown of those various, tusk horn things. And but again, another both just individually powerful sliver, a individually powerful sliver that works well with having a bunch of other slivers because it keeps triggering every time you get another one. And also another sliver that's...
Oh, because it's when this creature...
Yes, every sliver gets it. So if you replicate this guy, whenever you play a sliver, and also... Monarch, you're the monarch.
Yeah, just draw some more cards.
Yeah.
I never heard anybody. Taunting Sliver, 3 and a blue for a sliver 3/3. Sliver creatures you control have, when this creature enters the battlefield, go to target creature an opponent controls.
If you've ever played a sliver deck or you played against a sliver deck, you probably know people like to gang up on the person playing the sliver deck before they get all their slivers in play and just kind of have this, unstoppable army of things with tons of abilities. Well, Taunting Sliver is a great way to prevent them from doing that. Everyone wants to attack you, kill you before everything's online, and sorry, fight amongst yourselves. We slivers are here to pull the puppet strings.
Yes, there'll just be more of us.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, so gross. For the last of our new cards, we've got Titan of Lityara for blue for an illusion 6/6. As Titan of Lityara enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Titan of Lityara is the chosen type in addition to its other types. Whenever Titan of Lityara enters the battlefield or attacks, you may draw a card for each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. If you do, discard a card. This is awesome.
There's a lot going on here.
It's an illusion that doesn't die to targeting. So is it really?
Yeah, if you poke this, it's like, actually I'm a 6/6, right? Most illusions, you're like, I'm gonna target you with something and they just disappear. Not this guy.
And he's got Distant Melody woven in.
Obviously very powerful in a deck that's able to make a bunch of small, say, token copies of whatever sort of creature type they care about, whether those are slivers or, again, merfolk, elves. This can fit into a lot of different decks. We did just see green-blue elves very heavily featured in, well, our last deck preview. So, you have a ton of options for where this card can go, not just in a deck that is specifically sliver-focused, and I think it's very powerful in all of them.
I think it's going to be super sweet as something in the 99 for anything that wants card draw, that is running the same type of creature, creating a lot of tokens that are of the same type of creature. I mean, it's a 6/6 for 6, and you get to draw cards with it when it ETBs or attacks. So I mean,
that's a lot.
Value.
And it lives up to the Titan name as being a 6/6 for 6. Exactly. End of the battlefield trigger, attack trigger. What is there not to love?
That rounds out the new cards, so let's get to the reprints. Blade Sliver, Blur Sliver, Bone Scythe Sliver, Bone Splitter Sliver, Brood Sliver, Cleaving Sliver, Clot Sliver, Cloud Shorter Sliver, Constricting Sliver, Crypt Sliver, Crystalline Sliver, Diffusion Sliver, Firewake Sliver, Gale Rider Sliver, Gemhide Sliver.
Are you sick of saying sliver yet?
Getting to that point. We've also got Harmonic Sliver, Hibernation Sliver, Hollowhead Sliver, Lava Belly Sliver, Mana Weft Sliver, Megantic Sliver, Might Sliver, Necrotic Sliver, Quick Sliver, Realmwalker Sliver. Just kidding, but it's a changeling. Sentinel Sliver, Shifting Sliver, Sinew Sliver, Sliver Hive Lord, Spiteful Sliver, Striking Sliver, Synapse Sliver, Siphon Sliver, Two-Headed Sliver, Venom Sliver, Winged Sliver. The artifacts in our deck are Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Herald's Horn, Icon of Ancestry, Pillar of Origins, Soul Ring, and Vanquisher's Banner. For instance, in sorceries, we've got Cleansing Nova, Crippling Fear, Cultivate, Decimate, the aforementioned Distant Melody, Farseek, Harsh Mercy, Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, and Windfall.
So obviously, as a 5-color deck, you need a lot of fixing to make things work. There's some decent green mana fixing with the Cultivate, Nature's Lore, Farseek style stuff, but there's also just a lot of multicolor lands. We have the entire Khan's Tri-Land cycle, as well as a number of the check lands, the Canopy Vista style Cinderglade stuff, as well as some of the original fetch lands like Floodplain.
That land list includes Ash Barrens, Canopy Vista, Cinderglade, Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Floodplain, Frontier Bivouac, Grasslands, Irrigated Farmland, Jungle Shrine, Mountain Valley, Mystic Monastery, Nomad Outpost, Opulent Palace, Path of Ancestry, Prairie Stream, Rocky Tar Pit, Sandstep Citadel, Savage Lands, Scattered Groves, Seaside Citadel, Secluded Courtyard, Sheltered Thicket, Smoldering Marsh, Sunken Hollow, and Unclaimed Territory.
There you have it. That is the entirety of Sliver Swarm, coming soon in a Commander Masters Precon near you.
We also have an amazing strategy guide coming up for this exact deck, and here it is. Play the slivers. Just play the slivers. It'll work. Play the slivers.
And now, as a finale, play another sliver. But thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate you all supporting the channel. Be sure to press those buttons to let us know that the algorithm know and us know that you love us.
That's right. And thanks again to Wizards of the Coast for letting us preview this for you. Can't wait to see you next time. Leave a comment about whatever cool thing you want to do with this deck or route you want to take it that might be a little different. We can't wait to find out. But thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.